Hello there, kings and queens and everybody in between. Yes, it is time for the Clout.WAV special. That's right. We are on episode 66. That's right. Double sixes, everyone. But don't worry. We have about 660 episodes to go before we have to worry about any evil or spooky things happening in nowhere. But today is a little bit of a somber tone because, man, when I tell you people were stupid this week, man, just go ahead, just fly the stupid flag. Like it, just make sure that it reigns supreme. And trust me, Twitch is on the docket because, you know, they can't ever go, well, how long they gone without being spoke about? An episode? Have they ever gotten back-to-back episodes?
Nah, probably not.
Man, it's a real shit show they got going on over there. But alas, we need to talk about Artesian builds. But first, let's talk about someone who makes good decisions. Let's talk about a man who is well dedicated to the craft. Let's talk about a man who knows exactly when it's time for performative activism to stop because he's really out there in those streets. My man, Subtle Fraudulence, man. How you doing, buddy? You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. You know, it's the good old weekend, and I'm just chilling, enjoying my day, waiting for the new episode of Attack on Titan to come out so I can figure out what sort of supremacy that Eren Yeager has decided to achieve in the series. Even though I know how it ends, I hope that the rumor that the anime is going to end differently from the manga is true, because we have an opportunity for something better.
You don't want to see my man's head getting cradled and he turns into a dove in the moonlight and you seem like you heard about that. Like, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but ending is one of those things where it's like, trust me, not the worst thing we've ever seen in manga. Trust us. Nowhere near. But it was definitely like you were riding that high, and then the ending was just like Lake Flaccid, bro. Like, we're talking, you get no Chikaruskis, no happy ending. Satisfaction was mid at best. Just to have a time skip to the future of postmodern era of what they were going through. And I don't know. It's just a whole myriad of things that was just kind of like, kind of shrug your shoulders. But hey, at least it ended. At least you had a good journey. At least you had a good time. But alas, you want to talk about not having a good time. Artesian builds, like that story just keeps getting new wrinkles as time goes on, because apparently they were view botting, they were follow botting, they were getting boosted metrics. So those so-called metrics that Mr. Katz was talking about and bragging about so much, apparently a lot of it allegedly wasn't even real. Now, some of you may be asking, wait a minute, Artesian builds, I heard about them. I actually thought about buying a PC from them, or I saw that Mr. Beast video where they were working in lockstep with him. And yes, they have had a lot of big content creators that have been under their wing or have decided to be an affiliate or an ambassador of their program, which, looking back, hindsight being 2020, we should have probably all known that something was a little off when you see how much percentage markup they have on their PCs, where you can go to like any of the other pre-built websites and get them for $500, $600, $700 cheaper for comparable, if not the exact same parts. It's pretty weird once you start, peeling back some of that red tape now that you're a little bit more wary of this reseller. But we got to start answering the real questions. What exactly did they do? Well, they decided that they were going to have all of their ambassadors all pulled together and just go ahead and show some support for the people who supported them most, the people who've decided to affiliate, the people who decided to be part of the ambassador program, and the people who, all in all, are helping them by scratching their back by being free advertisement to their audiences, to their communities, and they just wanted to give something back to those communities. Or so we thought, or that's how it should have been. That's how, in an ideal world, if some sort of perfect being were to write the script, this is how the story would have went, and we wouldn't be talking about this. But alas, we live in the current reality. And what actually happened was a guy who was cosplaying as Star-Lord, the CEO, Mr. Katz. What's his first name? And I know it's not stupid, but go ahead, tell him.
It's not Star, you say? His first name is Noah. His name is Noah Katz. Now, I'm I'm surprised that this is his real name, if it is his real name. But his company has a business license in California, so yeah.
It had one, but
But
we'll get to that later.
yeah, we'll get to. Oh my god! So this guy decides that they're going to do a giveaway, as they apparently do fairly often. But they're going to the giveaway specifically for people who have their who are like partnered, I believe, with Twitch, and also have their
I don't even think it's partnered. I think anybody who wanted to be an ambassador could be an ambassador, because there is a tweet that I showed where all he said, if you want to be an ambassador, sign up. It's free. Anybody can be a part of this. Anybody can win free prizes as long as blah, 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 so on and so forth. And this whole thing turns into a complete sideshow Bob side act, because during the stream in which he's doling out these rewards, he starts reading some receipts and some analytical data of the people who are his ambassadors, which you would think, if you let someone be an ambassador and represent your brand in any way, shape, or form, you would have vetted these people, you would have taken a deep look into these people, and therefore by proxy, you would already have known who they were and approximately how much value they've accrued to your assets on your website. These are things that you should just have on hand. These are not things you should need to look up on the fly. Now, you may be saying, okay, I don't understand where this is going. Where's the pitfall here? This sounds like typical standard business practice. Well, it was, until they announced a winner, which would be one Qyz. She wins, obviously excited. Their community, obviously excited. So, they're like, yeah. Then at this point, Mr. Noah Katz, CEO of Artesian Builds, looks at her analytics, starts stroking his chin, starts scratching his head, pulls up another page, goes, I'm not really seeing a lot of value here, because let's face it, folks, it's just getting kind of weird that your community's kind of small and no one's really clicked your affiliate links. So like me giving you something like this is a you scratch our back, we scratch your back type of relationship. And you've basically done nothing. You've basically have no value to us. So therefore, we cannot give you this PC. And yeah. Basically, obviously the chat's like, hey, yo, hello, what the fuck? And he was like, now let me give you let me give you an explanation, chat. Let me explain why I'm doing this. Because this is business, baby. And then he started naming a couple of people who are ambassadors who have sold plenty of PCs through their affiliate links, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, so you already knew which type of people you were going to give this PC to. And you pretty much knew going into this who was omitted from this list. So I'm not saying that you should ever do this and just flat out lie. But if you were going to re-roll because you saw something strange, you could have just kept it to yourself and said, I don't know about this, and just re-rolled and not said a word. You could have done that. Still would have been a piece of shit move, but you could have done that. Once again, hindsight 2020. 2, you could have taken care of this in a very transparent way by saying, we just want to give back to those who have given back to us. And then you could put out some parameters, some thresholds that your affiliate links had to get through. Make sure all the people who got over those hurdles, jumped through those hoops, blah, 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 were the only people who had their names in the hat to begin with. And then do your random draw if that's really how important it was to you that whoever wins had gotten a lot of value through their affiliate links and, their ambassadorship. That would make sense. Okay, you got something there. There's some traction there. There's some logical thought. There's some normalized behavior that happens when you do it in that fashion. Or you could even take it a step further. You could have said, hey, all of our people who are partnered on Twitch and are an ambassador, which means they have over a certain threshold just on Twitch, not even with their affiliate onboarding, none of that stuff, just people who clearly have an audience or a sizable community on Twitch, have Discord drops enabled, all that stuff, and you could have just had it with them. That integration is already in Twitch. You don't even have to touch anything on that. You could have done it that way. But no. You pick someone, and then you go, ooh, yikes, not big enough. And then you had the nerve to look in the camera and go, ooh, there it is. There's the re-roll. basically you're gloating about the fact that you took something off of somebody else's plate that they won and were willing to hand it to somebody else. Meanwhile, you were dogging other people that they would have to pay for shipping. Like, first of all, it's a giveaway and you're going to make people pay for shipping when you've already marked up these prices by like 30 to 40%. You got to understand how this looks kind of weird, right? This looks a little suspect. This looks a little strange. It's like the delusions of a madman who's going on a power trip, so to speak. It's not good. And that's what brings us to where this all just kind of, turned into a total debacle, because social media, trust me, if it's on there, they remember it. And everyone just took QyZ aside. Everyone's like, dude, what the fuck is this? This is stupid. This is crazy. How could they do that? And now you have like almost every other aftermarket PC builder or pre-built PC maker coming together and like, oh, we'll build you a PC. We'll build you a PC. You have people who are content creators who do nothing but build PCs for other content creators, or just make crazy freak show, amazing over the top builds, or build things from scratch, blah, blah, blah. Also jump into the fray saying, no, I'll build you a PC. Don't worry, I got you. And if they obviously get multiple PCs, well, then maybe QyZ can do a giveaway done right with her community over there on Twitch. And there's so many things that just could have been done. And there's so many choke points in this whole debacle that could have been avoided had they just done anything that required 2 brain cells working at the same time towards the same goal. But clearly that did not happen. Not to mention, on the stream, they started like dogging their international audience about, oh yeah, they're gonna have to pay big time shipping if they're international, because they saw like the Ukrainian flag in like their Twitter bio. And it's just like, what they're going through over there. Like, it's all over the news. Like, there's no way that you're out of the loop on that one. And you're more concerned about the people who are potentially getting bombed, people who could potentially be getting shot at. Oh no, they got to pay the big boy shipping. Like this, that's like, read the room, check the temperature. It's not a good look in any way, shape, or form for you, Mr. Katz. And I know what you're all thinking. Well, that is a pretty scummy thing, but I don't see how this is a big front-loaded story. I don't see how this is something that really deserves to be talked about for over 10 minutes on a podcast. Well, hold on. I know you hear me. And I know you want me to get to the point, so let's dive right in. So it turns out, when everyone started giving Artesian builds the side eye for this completely ludicrous decision-making they made here, we then began to take a look at some questionable business decisions that were happening over there on the other side of the horizon, in which we found out that while they're headquartered in California, they haven't been paying their taxes. They've been evading taxes for a little over a year. And Noah Katz, he's a little bit of a different breed. He's a little bit of a different guy, built different, assembled quite uniquely, because this is the same guy who has let his company skate on taxes, not be honest with old Uncle Sam, but is flexing on the gram that he bought a BMW i8, which is about $130,000, $160,000 supercar, electric supercar. Let's get the air quotes out there. So he's flossing and big bossing that he's got money. He's got some merch. He's got cheese, Fetty, De Niro, Bucks. He's got all of that and a can of milk, because this milk definitely ain't bagged. He's not Canadian. And it damn sure didn't come in a gallon jug, because he don't do business like normal folk. He don't even pay taxes. And somehow, some way, he has facilitated all this into the giant shit show of, not only is he being fraudulent to his peers, not only is he being fraudulent towards his ambassadors, not only is he being fraudulent towards his consumer base, but he is being fraudulent to the damn government. This man lying to the United States of America, the CIA, the FBI, anybody that you could potentially lie to, I guarantee you he would tell the lie. For all we know, he stole that car. I don't know. This is a very untrustworthy fellow at this point, which brings me back to this little bit of a nonsensical point here. But I don't know if you know how things work in California when it comes to tax evasion, but Artesian builds.
Hold on. before you finish that, before we get away from the tax evasion, I want to read the most recent tweet to you from March 5th, 2022,
from
3:52
yesterday.
p.m. Yep,
Okay.
3:52 p.m. Eastern Time. At this point, we are examining a potential employee-led buyout of the company. Thank you for your support. I was gonna find the apology for this whole situation, but do we even need to read it? No. I mean, it's not on their Twitter page anymore, so obviously they don't, they don't feel that way anymore. So, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. We'll get to the apology in a second. I'm not even talking about the written one. He filmed the video apology, by the way.
I did not see that. So
okay, well, that's going to be a good one. But so essentially, since they no longer have a business license that is valid in California, you may be saying, all right, well, what does that really mean? What does that, like, how does that affect them in a negative way? What are the true consequences for that? Well, my friend, I'm glad you asked. Because not only do they have to pay a $2,000 fee up front, not only do they have to pay multiple fees for each single passing month that they've been delinquent, they have to also pay back everything that they owe. But not only that, until they have done all of that, they can no longer operate and do business in California. They no longer have access to their business name, which means if you wanted to go in there and, name your business Artesian Builds for whatever reason in California, they couldn't do anything to stop you from just stealing their name and squatting on it. They are powerless. And not only are they powerless to stop you from doing that, they are powerless if you wanted to take that entity, formerly known as Artesian Builds, to court, because they are not allowed to defend themselves in court with delinquent taxes. They are not allowed to fight back on anything. So if they have screwed you or even had a slight inconvenience and you want to make it a big deal and lawsuit them, they actually can't even do anything about it. They would technically just have to hold that L. Funny thing is, because they're delinquent on taxes, they're not even allowed legally to put a warranty on their products, which they have been doing, which is also breaking the law. By the by, just in case no one caught that. There's plenty of other gates and hoops and hurdles that they're going to have to jump through, get over, and clear. But as it stands right now, that is a company that is not looking good. They're in dire straits. They looking like they're on their way out. And as you said, with the aforementioned employee buyout that might be coming through, it'll be very interesting to see how they butt heads with new management if they ever choose forward to do so. But the funny thing about the CEO is he came out with a video apology as well. And the apology went something along the lines of this. Last night on stream, I went about a giveaway in a very dumb fashion in which I belittled someone in our community, and it hurts me just as much as it hurt them, because that's just not the Artesian way. You see, we strive at Artesian Builds to build communities, not tear them down. And that's just not something that we want to be. But in the future, we will do better. I will do better. Because in the future, ambassadors of all sizes will be eligible for all rewards and prizes. Thank you. Let's be great together. Now, you may be saying, why'd you have that weird, awkward pause when you said all ambassadors would be eligible? Like it almost felt like it made you sick to say that. No, that's in the actual apology. You go look it up. Like there's actually a sigh that's audible. And he goes, ambassadors of all sizes, like shrug, I guess. But in that apology, there was no mention of Qyz directly by name. In that apology, there was no, let's make it right immediately and let's just give Qyz a PC for the free ski. No shipping, no weird bells and whistles, just being up and honest. There was no admission of true guilt, like, man, we really messed up as a company, we need to do better and actually push forward and showcase action over words and actually doing something about it. And as a whole, maybe we need to take an inner look and do some reflection and have some genuine repercussions for Mr. Noah Katz. That's what should have been in that apology. I'm not saying that he has to step down, but maybe, he needs to, do something without pay.
Oh man, how are they going to say that to the CEO though, man? He's the CEO of the company. They can't just say, "Hey man, we're going to get rid of him." He's going to be like, "Nah, I'm going to get rid of you." But it doesn't matter because the company also has other issues that they need to address. Like sending people products that are not working properly for them. Like there's alleged heating issues that people have been overheating issues that people have been experiencing with the PCs that they've gotten from Artesian builds, and on stream the addressing of those problems have been, oh well, on our end, basically the equivalent of, it's good on my end, bro, don't know what's going on. Like on our end, we haven't been experiencing any overheating issues with these PCs. So maybe you should check your environment. Maybe you should check, how you've got it set up, whatever. And it's like, oh, I don't know about you, but if I get a PC in the mail and I open it up, I hook it up, and it's been overheating, even though it's been told to me that this is brand new and this has been tested, that it's got no problems going on with it, and it's overheating. Day one.
Look, this is the same company that will give you a 3060s instead of 3070s, 3080s. And even though they're 3060s, you can go to other computer websites and get 3080s and very comparable specs, if not better specs, and still save over $100 to $300. These are the same people who have the non-integrated version of the Intel chipsets. So for the processors, I believe they have the KF versions instead of just the raw Ks. So once again, not a big downer, but a little bit of a downer, but they're still more expensive.
Yeah.
With inferior hardware. That just doesn't make sense. Like, this doesn't make business sense. But
it's done. It's done. I'm sorry. I got to say that. I got to say it for this company. Like they're not going to survive. You see how, like I said, that it was not going to be good for Activision Blizzard. They're probably going to be gone. And then Microsoft was like, "Hold on, buddy. I'll go ahead and buy them out." There's not going to be some Microsoft that's going to buy out Artesian builds, because I don't think this is going to benefit any company who decides that they want to buy out this company for PC building, when they could just buy out another company or even build their own PC building company at this point. I don't think it's looking well. I mean, not only have they tarnished their brand, the people are also bringing to light a lot of issues with the actual product, as well as the people who are in charge of providing you with the product. So what's actually feasible about buying these people out at this point? What's feasible about supporting these people at this point? Their ambassador program is a joke. They've been reported to be using view bots and things like that to get the kind of notoriety that they've gotten so far. They pretentiously decided that people who are a part of their program to promote their product are not good enough to receive their product without paying them money, even though this would be an act of good faith to show that they are a company that people can support and that people can depend on for assistance, for actual quality products, all those things. Instead, they were like, "No, you're not good enough. People are not going to see that you got this program or this PC from us, so you're just not going to promote our product in a way that we want." If you wanted to promote your PC by giving one away to someone else, you could have just actually approached someone with high numbers and then said, "Hey, everyone, we're giving away this PC to this person, or like, had an agreement where once they get the PC, they do an unboxing stream or something of that end, and then they, take some pictures, make some tweets, make some Instagram posts, and say, "Hey, Artesian builds really pull through with this PC." I mean, maybe the PC will overheat when they plug it up, and they'll have to deal with that, but they'll still, honor the agreement and say, "Hey, no, guys, this is great. Like I use this PC every day," and then they use something different. Like it doesn't track with like what they wanted to do. Like if you wanted people who were popular to promote your product and not just anybody to promote your product, then you should have just went after people who are popular or who are like who you deem to be good enough to promote your product, instead of saying like, "Oh, this person is a part of our ambassador program, but they don't got the numbers to deserve this PC that we're giving to them." Like, come on. Like who wants a company that's gonna actually like say something like that to people? It's like Mark Zuckerberg coming out and be like, "Oh, sorry, Grandpa, you're not good enough to be a part of the metaverse. You don't even understand how VR technology works. Therefore, you specifically will not get a pass to VR unless you pay your subscription fee to the metaverse." It's like not a good look, bro.
It's like nobody else paying.
Exactly. It's like, "Hey, that guy's not paid over there." He's like, "He's good enough. Unlike you, we don't like your kind."
Boomer scum. Like, oh man. But the apology was a little bit weird because they also offered a written apology. And the written apology goes as following. "During last evening's live stream, I made a statement that has affected and hurt Qyz. I take full accountability and sincerely apologize for how my statement has hurt Qyz as a viewer and participant in supporting Artesian." So, I mean, I don't want to do the thing where you nitpick and break down every single sentence, but I feel like I got to here. So basically, he says, "I made a statement that affected and hurt Qyz." That doesn't say like I made a bad statement or I made an egregious misjudgment, and error. That doesn't say anything. That just says like I could have said Qyz is a good person, but somehow they were upset by that. Like, like this is making it very, very blanket, very soulless. And then you follow that up with I take full accountability and sincerely apologize for how my statement has hurt. Like, I'm not apologizing for the statement. I'm apologizing for how my statement hurt them. But then you say in that same statement has hurt Qyz as a viewer and participant in supporting Artesian. Not that I hurt their feelings. Not that I hurt their ability to, want to go forward of, just being a content creator. Not how I've pretty much, let's be honest, ridiculed them live on stream on a giveaway where we took them to the highest high if they won a PC to just basically throwing them to the curb. But no, as a viewer and participant in supporting Artesian, because that's the only thing that matters to you. Now, he says, "I made the wrong decision to not provide the giveaway to the rightful winner, Qyz. This action does not reflect the values of Artesian." Now, this is where the apology gets weird for me, because he says the statements I made regarding the updated giveaways guidelines were made under the wrong circumstance and were in no way appropriate. So a little bit of accountability there. Okay. But then he follows that up by saying, "We would like to be able to provide new guidelines in the future that will allow everyone to participate in all and any giveaways. The statement made regarding our viewers does not align with the values that Artesian builds, and I apologize for how this hurt our community. At Artesian Builds, we take great pride in giving 100% every day to provide a friendly, fun service to all viewers and customers. But in this instance, I have failed not only our viewers, customers, and ambassadors, an ambassador, which there's multiple. I don't know why it's singular there, but whatever. Yeah. But also my team and the values of our brand. During this time, I will commit full attention to create a new guideline that will reflect on Artesian Build's values to support all of our viewers and customers, allow each person on the platform to create and grow. Thank you, blah, 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 blah." But there's one sentence that I haven't read to you because I don't know if you guys would be ready for it. But let me go ahead and read the redacted/omitted statement. So back at the top, due to the updated giveaway guidelines, which were not in alignment for this giveaway, I made the wrong decision. I skipped that part and I just said I made the wrong decision. Do you see what he did there? With the updated guidelines,
yep,
I was incorrect. But those weren't in alignment for this giveaway. So, I mean, while I'm upset that she's hurt, I technically didn't do anything too wrong. Like, it's a gigantic shit show. Like, the whole thing. Oh, by the way, they removed this apology. Like, it's deleted. But trust me.
Yep.
If you post it on the internet, it's been screen capped, it's been cropped, and now it's back on the internet. So, yeah. Complete shit show. And even if you were sincere, why would you delete this apology but leave the video one up?
Because this apology
into the microphone.
This apology was actually a it was just like a moment of weakness sort of thing. It's like, well, we got to say something immediately, right now. We got to do it right now.
Hold on, they have removed the video apology as well.
Yeah, because that got shit also.
Yeah, you know what?
It's got parodies.
You know what? They didn't hold the air. They didn't just hold the L. They said, matter of fact, Kia doesn't deserve an apology. They reneged on both in writing and in person.
Nah, man, they're readjusting. It seems that at this point they're trying to get rid of Noah Katz in a way that they possibly can to save the company. Especially because of this whole tax thing. So they're probably going to like deal with that first and then come out with some sort of formal statement of like, we apologize for the behavior of our previous CEO, yada, yada. We apologize to this person and, these people for the actions of that person. But moving forward, the company will make sure to acknowledge them. And then we'll also, acknowledge everyone who's been experiencing issues, everyone who missed out on a PC from a giveaway, et cetera, et cetera. That would be the smart thing to do. But who knows if they're going to be smart. But it seems like that's what they're going to do.
The whole parameters of the giveaway were illegal in the first place because you can't have a raffle that requires people to kick in money in the first place.
Yep.
Especially on American soil, that is illegal. And you also can't re-roll to get it to someone that you like more because of some arbitrary principle that wasn't in the initial bylaws of the whole giveaway in the first place. So that is also illegal. So not only are you breaking the laws on stream in 4K on camera where we can see you, you're also doing it at the expense of your community. Now, for those of you who want to talk about community, the Artesian Builds ambassadorship program has crashed and burned because there are plenty of people who, once they caught wind of this, who were ambassadors, some of them with big boy clout, have all pulled out. They're like, nah, I'm good. I'm dropping them. Some of these people were even, quote unquote, promised relatively promising opportunities, good business endeavors. And they said, no, I would rather walk away from this shit show than reap benefits by working with these people.
I mean, as they should. It's just not a good move. You don't want to be the person who sees someone who do the shittiest thing possible they could do with their company and then be like, I stand with them right now. You don't want to be someone who decides that, maybe say a very powerful country decides to invade a less powerful country and then say, no, I stand with the powerful country. I think everything that they did was correct. And it's not a good look.
Especially when we have you in 4K.
Yeah, exactly.
we seen it. Like we have you in ultra Dolby Vision. Like, yeah, we are throwing you out of the club. You have been evicted from your own house.
Mm-hmm.
And the funniest thing to me about all this isn't even the Kia situation, isn't it the ambassador situation? It's the fact that Noah Katz dared to say that somebody wasn't popular enough. Dared to say that somebody wasn't big enough, dared to say that somebody didn't have enough clout. And then I went to go look at all of his social medias and I added them all up, and I added up his Instagram, I added up his personal Twitter, and I added up, hell, I was even on his LinkedIn before he suspended that shit. Would you like to know how many people he had following him at the time? If I add them all up?
In total? Yeah. Less than 500.
Less than 300. And he's going to tell somebody that they're tiny, that they're minuscule, that they don't matter.
Yeah,
that they're insignificant.
That's not good.
That's not good at all. Overindulgence on your own ego there, and I think you really need to get that checked out, my guy. But hopefully you'll be able to do that from not behind bars in the future, because they might lock you up and not let you out. Because, sir, you broke the law. Also, this is the same Artesian builds that apparently retweeted the Pokimane card giveaway extravaganza, and I was like, damn, if you only listen to Pokimane, you might have been able to fucking know how to do a giveaway. But alas, they can't even do that right, because of course they can't. But pushing past that, we have plenty of other topics today, such as, what are we going to do with Master Duel? Like, I don't know how many of you guys have been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, but that is a game that I feel as though is in almost as dire straits as Artesian builds, minus the legality, of course, because at this point, when a game comes out, games, especially in the modern era, they thrive on content. And when a game is released, they need subsequent releases of content. They need new content. And that doesn't mean you got to come up with new cards, but sometimes having some new game modes would be pretty cool. You guys came out with that XYZ festival, and I'm going to be honest, it was kind of a hit. You definitely saw different decks, you saw different metas, you saw different changes, you saw certain cards that didn't have to run XYZ monsters being able to facilitate nuanced gameplay, or they had their cards banned altogether because they wanted you to specifically focus on decks that could do XZ summoning. Now, they did say they have a Synchro and Fusion event coming in the works, but you got to start scratching your head and asking yourself a very, very, very valid question. Because I understand that you guys, you know, Konami likes to develop things behind the scenes, keep things close to the chest, keep it in-house. So they don't necessarily publish a, you know, public roadmap on when we can expect certain things. But you got to start asking yourself the all-important question, what is going to anchor your players to this game? Because as you noticed, if you look at stream charts, you know, Steam charts just as, you know, a guideline, they've lost about 40 to 50% of their players since launch. And it's only been, what, a month and a half? Game hasn't been out that long, folks. Game is just now kind of getting into the, what we would call still the honeymoon phase for most games. And somehow, some way, a lot of players are already leaving. Now, that said, a lot of that does have to do with the fact that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta has been an absolute shit show for the past, like, 12 years. Okay, I'm not here to argue with that. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has become a different beast. Some decks don't even normal summon. They just special summon 30 times and don't allow your opponent to play Yu-Gi-Oh! At all. But I'm not talking about those specifics right now. But it would be nice to see if, like, Master Duel could come up with a custom ban list. Because what you have here is a unique opportunity to have a game that is very, very close to the actual TCG and OCGs, where you come up with custom ban lists for a couple formats, like maybe a couple of ranked seasons. And you can use this as a testing ground to see if it's something that you could bring to the TCG and OCG. You genuinely have a beta test and thousands of willing participant guinea pigs who are willing to pay money to test Yu-Gi-Oh! For you in Master Duel. Your ban list doesn't have to be let everything rock. You could definitely do a lot of things where you could facilitate a lot of decks. You can make a lot of decks have a lot of fluidity in terms of their placement on the tier list just by having certain bans or having certain formats where certain cards are limited, or have a no hand trap meta, you know, for a couple weeks. There's so many things that you can do. And if you want to talk about, like, you know, giving stuff back to the players that support you the most, somehow you guys are still somehow on the same level as Artesian builds. Yes, I know Artesian builds still hasn't left our mouth. Not yet. It hasn't left our minds yet either. But I don't know if you know how the rank stuff works, sort of fraudulence, but essentially you get punished for climbing in the plat at the end of each season. Because at the end of each season, this isn't a cumulative get all rewards meta that you see in most games. For example, if you're in Apex Legends and you get to top 500 and you're an Apex Predator, you get all the rewards from bronze, silver, gold, plat, diamond, master, and Apex Predator. Even if after the split, you never played in anything lower than platinum, you still get those rewards for gold and below, even though you technically never played any games in there because you were higher than that, right? And you would think that's how it works in basically 90% of other games with ranked games and battle passes and things of that nature, but not in this game. This one only rewards you in ranks that you started in all the way up to ranks that you finished in. Now, you may be saying, wait a minute, what does that mean? If you go all the way up to plat, when the reset happens, you go back to gold 5. Which means you can only get the gold and up rewards. But if you stay in if you stay in gold and you get bounced back to silver, you can get 600 extra gems that season. Just because you decided to not rank up again. So you get rewarded for trying not to get to the top rank. Which sounds stupid. It sounds absolutely ridiculous, but that is where we're at right now. And I don't know how many of you guys have played Duel Links on your mobile devices or if you played it on PC. But Duel Links has 3 extra ranks. One of them being King of Games at the top, then Legend underneath it. And I think it's Legend 1 through 7 on Duel Links. And I want to say there's something that's in between Plat and Legend. I don't think it's Diamond, though. But either way, there are more ranks in that game than there are Master Duel. Because Master Duel stops at Plat 1. Name me one game that you've ever heard of who has a rank system that has Bronze, Silver, Gold, and Plat is the top. Where the hell is Diamond? Where is a Master's equivalent or Legend? Where is a King of Games? How do you have a Yu-Gi-Oh game where the top rank in ranked is not King of Games? It's Plat. That's weird. That seems almost unfinished. That seems kind of tacky. Seems like you're lacking. And the funny thing is, some people have data mined and people have surmised that other ranks are in the game. They're just not implemented, and I have no idea why. Or are they worried that we'll get too many gems? Are they worried that people will find out that they're not as good as they think they are because their deck gets washed in Plat and they can't climb? And is that what's going on?
I mean, if that's the case, those people would they would find that out way before Plat, because with the way rank goes, by the time you get to silver, you're gonna find all the people who are super sweaty at the game and have like decks that are gonna demolish anything that's not like a kaiju deck or
Phantom Knights.
Deck, Phantom Knight, yeah, whatever. Like any of those top decks, if you're not playing it yourself, you're not really gonna win most of the duels. You're just gonna run into one of those, and then you're either gonna go first, put down one thing, and then get OTK'd the next freaking turn, or you're going to go second and either get OTK'd or get close to getting OTK'd and just know there's nothing I can do about this, and surrender, or just have to be forced to like just play it out so that you can actually get some sort of experience or something from the match. Because if you quit, you get nothing.
That's what's kind of funny. Like if you hit the surrender button, you don't get any EXP. You don't get any rewards, nothing. But when you lose, you do get something, even though sometimes surrendering is the only way to get out of a very long, exhausting gameplay loop in which you don't have any sort of interactivity or response to a long 20 plus card search combo. And you just have to sit there for 15 minutes watching your opponent just click the button, shiny, for 15 minutes. And obviously very frustrating if that happens to happen to you, especially when you have no cards in hand, no cards on the field. Like you can't even activate anything in the grave. And now you just sit there looking dumb. And this brings up the interesting point that a lot of people like to talk about when they compare Yu-Gi-Oh to other card games out there like Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering, where there's no power system. Like on turn 1, you might have like 2 mana, and then you can only facilitate a very light play. Then as the duel or the battle goes along, you get a little bit more mana usage each turn. So by the time you get to like your 5th turn or the turn 10 in the duel, then you could go into your long, very extensive plays, blah, 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 so on and so forth, because you have a very, limited amount of mana. But even then, you can't do a 20 card combo. Your combos would be like, for example, Dinos would be like, all right, summon Oviraptor, add miscellaneous to the hand, deposit miscellaneous summons Blue Gator pops baby summons monster, and then you go into your links, your synchros, or XYZs, but you only get like 2 special summons from the extra deck per turn. And by that point in the combo, you've already used up all your resources. So you either have to choose between Borreload or Naturia Beast. You have to choose between Halka-Fibrax or Appaloosa. You have to choose between getting Tyranno or one of your extra deck 2 level 4 Dino monsters between Dolka and Lagia. Like, you're gonna have to choose things. You can't just make the board omnipresent and just go, all right, now what do you do? And I feel like that's a very important thing that a lot of people always love to bring up when they like to clown on Yu-Gi-Oh, that you could just do too much and pass, and your opponent's just like, well, I can't normal summon, I can't special summon, I can't activate monster effects, I can't activate spells, traps don't work, I guess I just have to pass it back to you. What you got for me, Chet, you betcha? And then you just get OTK. And no one likes that type of game state. And I mean, that's just Yu-Gi-Oh though at this point.
Yeah. I don't think they should implement that in Yu-Gi-Oh because that's too big of a change.
Like I said, I don't either.
Yu-Gi-Oh. But it is a good idea to like quell that sort of situation. The situation where people are going to get frustrated turn 1, because RNG is like super important for most of the duels that you're in. If you get a bad hand, you're just gonna get screwed until you get a good card. And since things like Pot of Greed are not like, legal cards anymore, there's no way to really get around it. You have to like hope that you get something good before your opponent can just like destroy you, which that's just the game, right? Whatever. But freaking, when you're dealing with situations where there are some decks where it's like it doesn't matter what hand you get, you're always gonna have something that's gonna allow you to just play your game in the meanest way possible. Casual fans are not gonna like it. This is a game that, because it's on like all platforms, so many people downloaded it because it's free to play, and they're like, "Oh man, I remember Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Was awesome. I'll totally like play it. I'll build a deck. Build a deck that I might have had when I had Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards myself, and then have fun playing with other people." But there's no casual play option. It's only ranked, and like, so if you're like someone who likes playing like ranked, playing your big meaty whatever decks, you could also have some of your like weaker decks that you want to play just for fun, and the only way you could do that is if you like create lobbies to play with friends or play with like randos who just join your lobby. There's no like casual play option for like a quick match in the same vein.
But here's the issue: like, if you try to do the quick play with like strangers, you end up joining a lobby. Problem is, if these are 2 people who know each other and just have an open lobby, there's a chance that none of them leave the table. Right. And then when you jump on the table, they're like, what is this? Did you invite this dude? And then they just go to the other table and then duel each other. Because you can't get in where you don't even fit in. Right. And no one wants to jump into 1 room, 2 rooms, 3 rooms in a row, hoping they'll find someone who actually let them play the game. And once again, in casual lobbies, let's just say you're playing a deck and your deck just so happens to win. As you know, some people are like, oh, damn, I lost. That's crazy. And then the next thing you know, the lobby's closed. So the best thing that they have to facilitate this is ranked. And even then, ranked has its own pitfalls due to the simple fact that it's best of 1. It's not 2 out of 3 like every Yu-Gi-Oh tournament on the planet. So you go in blind, not even knowing what your opponent is even playing. And then you may be taking precautions for, obviously, well, what if he's playing this? What if she's playing that? What if her deck is just, very, very, quick monster spam? What if it's monster heavy? So, you take the proper precautions, and then it's some spell and trap nonsense. And then next thing you know, you find out you're fighting like Zoo or Literal Sick Tri Brigade. And like, then you're just in shambles. You're just in shambles.
Oh my God. Anything involving Tri Brigade. It doesn't matter what point in the duel you're at. You could be winning pretty damn well. And then all of a sudden, Tri Brigade Revolt gets flipped over and it GG's to you. Like, awesome. Great.
Yeah, they dropped the dude. They dropped the almighty Banisher. And it's just like, man, how is that fair?
Yeah. Just awesome, great. I guess I got to shake your hand now. Oh wait, I can't do that. Well,
but yeah,
the worst thing. Okay, the worst thing about the experience though, especially for people who are like more casual, is the fact that like even if it's a situation where you have absolutely no cards on your side of the field, someone will still go and play their full combo, which is like a 5 minute like brigade of them, summoning this, special summoning that, XYZ summoning this, whatever. And you activating all these card effects and then like putting a legion of cards on the field that they don't need just to get one card to swing at you when all they really had to do was go battle mode, swing, they win. You only have like 200 life points left, but they did all of that just so that you could watch them play this. And like if you want points, you got to sit there and you got to take it because you're not going to get any experience if you just leave. So,
and trust me when I tell you, some of these people like sometimes the combo itself isn't even long. Sometimes it's just some person who is clicking so slow or they're on mobile. So like there have been legit duels where it's not my turn and I see that they're playing a certain deck or they're playing Drytrons or they're playing something that can cycle cards a bunch. And I'll pull out my phone. I'll play a game of Wordle. I'll go in the kitchen. I'll cook me some noodles. Sometimes, I just clean up the house. Start dusting off a couple of shelves, run the vacuum cleaner. Come back. They still going through their turn. I've missed nothing. And I do feel like there's a lot of staple cards that are in the game right now that like the game does not point you to that you need them outside of Ash Blossom. I think that's the only one. But they don't teach you about Nibiru. The game doesn't teach you about Maxi. The game doesn't teach you about, various other things like Called by the Grave.
All of those cards are ultra rare also. So you would need ultra rare currency to get them in the first place. So
I mean, you're not wrong, but
unless they give you bundle packs, which that honestly is a good idea, but they don't do it for most of the cards that matter besides Ash Blossom, as you mentioned. So it's like, what are we doing here?
One.
They also added a new solo route with like duels for specific types of decks, but so far that I've seen, they're all decks that are not that great, like Harpy deck and stuff like that. It's like, okay, cool, it'll teach them how they work, but you're not going to see those very common.
Like, I mean, most of the decks in that solo mode, like they're like, yeah, man, learn Gladiator Beast, and it's like, for what?
Why? Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people who are new players just get debated by like, because let's be honest, when you see Link monsters for the first time in the little tutorial mode, they don't even have effects. They just be monsters that are like slightly stronger than regular monsters. So the average player who's like brand new is gonna be like, oh, okay. So you just make Link. So like they're getting Link monsters that are just like the only text on the card that says 3+ monsters, 2+ effect monsters. That's it. They don't even have effects. Then you fight Tri Brigade. They summon Appaloosa. You can't activate effects. They got big Omni Negate Banish Man in the back. They got Hauka Fibrax, and you're just sitting there like, oh, when do I get to play the game? That's just a neat thing, kiddo. You don't. So, like, I'm not saying that, like, it's an easy fix. I'm not saying that it's going to be something that Konami can probably even fix, especially if you go by their Duel Links track record. But I just feel like I don't know what they're going to do. Because this game is losing players fast. Now, I'm not saying it's anywhere near dying, okay? Because remember, the last time we got a Yu-Gi-Oh game on Steam, its peak player count was like 1,300 players. This game has had literally 100 times that. Now, granted, they've lost 40%, but that's still 60% higher. And by 60, like what? 600% higher than what we had with the last Yu-Gi-Oh game that came out on Steam. Much less having it on other platforms with crossplay. So, once again, not saying the game is bad, but the game needs content. Game needs a little help in some areas. And let's be honest, experimenting with a ban list to accommodate, let's be honest, new players and to accommodate, the fact that we want more variety in terms of the meta, I think that'd be a nice way to shake it up. Now, that being said, I do believe that if a card is banned, you should be given the option to refund that card or I should get compensated gems. Like the mail should be like, oh, this card that you have 3 of is currently banned. Here's 90 ultra rare gems.
That would be so nice, so much better than certain things like certain cards that you get in the game. Like first off, if you get cards from those legacy packs that you get for free through leveling up, dueling, whatever, in
you
ranked,
can't even dismantle them.
Yeah, you can't dismantle them because they're from those packs, and it's like, well, but why? Like, what if this is stuff that I don't need or don't want?
Now you just gotta sit there and look with like what 5 Art Fiend tomatoes in your fucking.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if I get and like let's just say it's a card that I can't decraft, fine. I can't dismantle it. But if I ever get 4+, I should be able to dismantle those.
Yes, exactly.
Because you can only put 3 of a card in a deck. Like let's just find a middle ground on that, okay?
Especially because currently there's no way to just buy credits for crafting cards. You can buy gems, like you can pay real money to get gems for the game, but you can't buy like ultra rare credit, which first off, that's the thing you're going to need the most when it comes to getting the packs or getting the cards that you need for like decks that you want to build, because most of the decks that are good require at least 2 to 3 ultra rare cards to be in them. Cards that you're most likely not going to get unless you unlock a legacy pack for that type of card, which you can only unlock by getting an ultra rare card from that pack. So yeah,
it also works with super rares. You can also just get a super rare.
Oh yeah, you can also get a super rare. Yeah, that's true.
But at the same time, it gets expensive real fast, especially when you find out that you're playing a deck that has like 7 secret packs that it has to open. Also, the game doesn't teach you how secret packs work at all. By the way. So most players, I find out, like most of the homies that play the game, spent all their gems on the master pack and the startup, not the startup pack, the main pack with the Eldritch in it.
I know which one you're talking about, but I don't remember the name.
And they just spent all of it on that pack. And then they were like, oh, there's a secret pack thing. Oh, I unlocked a bunch of these. What are these? And they just start rolling in random ones without even partaking in noticing deck synergy. And then it's like, sure, you may have a bunch of ultra rares, but you don't have anything that goes together, and you can't even make a deck. And some of these people are people who put money into the game.
I learned that
you
hard way.
You could literally say you wasted your money.
Because a new account does give you like more than enough gems to build a at least one like competent deck. And yeah, I learned the hard way that a lot of those packs are things that you may not want. Like they may just contain cards that you don't want. On top of the fact that, you know, you may have like the Dragon Luster, which is supposed to be for, you know, what is it? Dragon Maids, and then there's like another dragon type that's associated with it, and Starry Knights. But there are cards in those packs that you can get that have nothing to do with any of those 3 categories whatsoever. It could just be a monster that literally you get this and it's for a different pack, and that's how you unlock the other pack, because you got like an Eldritch monster in this pack, and it's just, or an Eldritch card in this pack. And I spent a lot of my currency just like buying the like 1K like 10 pull of these packs or whatever, because I had like a lot. But I didn't know that it was just like, if you want to build this deck, you should like, you know, put your money into this pack. Otherwise, just leave it alone. Didn't learn anything about that until I was trying to build other decks later on, like stronger decks later on. And when it comes to that system, like, what is the thing where like, when you unlock a pack, you get a free pull? Like, it doesn't seem to be consistent with like getting an ultra rare card in that pack. It doesn't be consistent with like getting a certain card in that pack. It's just like, it just seems random to me. I don't know what controls that. Because there have been times where it's like, I just craft a card and it's like, hey, you got 1 free pull for the legacy pack that it's, or the secret pack that it's connected to. And I'm like, why did I get 1 free pull here? Like, I wish I knew, because then I would just do that every time I want, you know, something from that pack. Or like if it was like, hey, every time you get an ultra rare or you craft an ultra rare, you get a free pull, so that you can get like a taste of what's in this pack. that system is good and it would make sense. But
It's
that's
only
not
the
the
first
case.
time you unlock it.
It's not even been that for me. Like there have been packs where I'm like, I've never seen this, but I got no free pull. It's just like, hey, you want to buy this?
Okay. Here's the thing. Right? Here's the thing. I haven't tested this yet, and I should. But what I think happens is you bought a 10-pack, right?
Uh-huh.
And this is probably like on day one, and you probably unlocked a card from that pack, but you never used the free pack. Then when the 24 hours were up, you unlocked it again, but it was the first time you've ever seen it, because it's the first time you noticed it, and you don't have the free pack now.
I think the free pack shouldn't be time-based.
I agree.
If that's the case,
I haven't tested that yet. I'll make a new account and I'll test that.
yeah, if that's the case, I don't think the free pack should be time-based. If they're like doing it to promote you to like put your gems into these packs so that you can like roll for, the cars that you want, because gacha is gacha. All right, I get that they're trying to like make money off of getting you to like buy these packs and whatnot, but like you'd have to provide more opportunities to like get there if you want it to work properly. Like Genshin Impact is still working for a reason. It's literally
That's
like, hey, you
true.
want to roll for this anime girl? Oh shit, you're out of rolls for the day. You want to spend money to get the rolls? It's like the must get anime girl. Of course I will spend the money. Please give me anime girl.
Waifus over stats. It's like, damn, bro, they really be out here like that. They be fiending.
Mm-hmm.
But at least they're telling the truth.
Facts. At least they're telling the truth.
Unlike Artesian I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I'm not sorry at all.
You mean unlike the Steam Deck? That's right.
The Steam Deck is full of cap as well, because I don't know. I feel like this is starting to happen a little bit more often, and you hate to see it when it's with good old Steam and good old Gabe Newell, but as you saw, because Stadia did a very similar thing with the same genre of games, funnily enough, but during the ad campaign of, the Steam Deck, and during the test footage that they showed, which potentially could have just been green screen hullabaloo, showed games like Guilty Gear being able to be played on the Steam Deck because that was in the promo material. However, it turns out that not only is Guilty Gear Strive not available on the Steam Deck, despite, once again, it being used in the marketing, neither are a bunch of fighting games. And I don't mean just like small fighting games. I mean, there are some pretty big ones that are just not playable. Let me see if you've heard of any of these before. Dragon Ball FighterZ, Tekken 7, Mortal Kombat 11, Injustice 2, perhaps? How about Guilty Gear Xrd? What about The King of Fighters 13? Hell, Under Night, Grand Blue. But don't get me wrong, there are some that genuinely are playable on there, but it's not just limited to fighting games, guys. You have free-to-play game juggernaut Apex Legends, not playable. Dead by Daylight, a game that has a bunch of viewership on Twitch, not playable. Destiny 2, which has gone free-to-play and has become quite the healthy gaming community in and of its own right, not available. Rainbow Six Siege, Smite, and fucking Fall Guys, the potato game. The game is just about a bunch of wacky waving inflatable beans, are not compatible with the Steam Deck either. And I don't think it's a performance thing. I just think like somehow they just screwed the pooch in some areas and somewhere, and it just doesn't work. Which, don't get me wrong, being an early adopter, it's tough. Being an early adopter of anything that's new in technology, there are definitely some kinks and some things that need to be ironed out. I'm not trying to say that Steam is garbage or they half-assed the Steam Deck or anything of that nature. I don't want that to be how this message gets misconstrued. But you cannot put something in your advertisement and then say, oops, what we showed you isn't real. That is false advertising. That's trash. That's an oopsie whoopsie. And it's something that I hope that they do apologize and do address really quickly, because I don't want that to get out of hand. Because, I mean, let's face it, if you saw that, oh, what's that? There's a video game that's coming out on the PlayStation, and then like you buy a PlayStation because you're so stoked for that game, and then you find out it's an Xbox exclusive, you'd be kind of miffed. You'd be kind of salty.
Yeah.
And you would be jumping down Sony's throat, even if it was just a little bit of a tech issue and they're working on it. You would still be laughing them out of the building. Now, a few months ago, this is probably like episode 40 something, we did talk about, could the Steam Deck help TOs run fighting games, help tournament organizers not have to worry about having a whole bunch of PlayStations, but having Steam Decks as setups. And as you can see, many of them don't even run. So as of right now, the answer is a big, emphatic no. Once again, to be determined. I'm sure it'll get better. I'm sure compatibility will, the compatibility, scope will definitely broaden, and there'll definitely be more games that fall into the fold, and that'll be great. But we're not there yet. Also, do you know how much the Steam Deck is?
Oh, let me see right now.
Because it's both less expensive than you thought and more expensive than you thought. Because the 64 gigabyte is $399. The 256 gigabyte is $549. The 512 is $650.
People on good old eBay are definitely doing the opposite of that, man. They're selling it for like 2K, 3K.
Oh yeah. There are plenty of people who've decided now is my time to become a scalping reseller.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, I think it looks cool. I think it's dope. The only real issue that I had with it had nothing to do with, performance. It's just the fact that, like, you bring something like this to the market, it's going to be scalped, and there's not anything that really Steam can do about that. But the thing that I had kind of bit of a problem is that the resolution is 1200 by 800. And I don't know why that's always just weird on the LCD screen.
Yeah.
Like, it's just weird. Now, granted, some people are like, yeah, but the screen is capped at 60 hertz. It's a portable device. If you had a portable device that's doing 200 frames per second, that thing is making helicopter noises, because there's no way that thing has any sort of climate control in there. There's some things that are just not feasible, that they're just 100% Fantasyland concepts. Yep. We don't live in the Blade Runner world. Not yet, anyway.
Well, let's hope we never live in that world.
Come on, man. You don't want to live in that world?
Nah, not with replicants. I mean, what? Yeah. I mean, it's either that or Westworld, and both of those are not
hey, I'll take both. I'll take both of those over Waterworld.
Yeah, let's not even talk about Waterworld.
Comment down below if you remember Waterworld, because that certainly was an experience. But speaking of fantasy experiences, this man's Kickstarter is at $25 million, bro. Tell us a little more about Mr. Brandon Sanderson.
Brandon Sanderson is a well-known author at this point. I think for people who aren't big fantasy novel enthusiasts, I think the most recognizable IP that he's worked on is Wheel of Time. He took over the Wheel of Time novels after the original author stopped. I don't remember the reason why, but yeah, he took over the series and helmed the series, which now has a Netflix or Amazon show. So there's an Amazon Prime show for Wheel of Time. If you've heard of it, Brandon Sanderson is behind some of the novels, and he decided to start a Kickstarter for a secret project of his that he is going to publish himself. And he asked for $1 million, and he's at about $25 million now. So, and it's climbing as we speak. It's still climbing. So by the time you hear this, it might be at 26 million or more. Might even be at 30 million. Like that. He's already broken the record for the most amount that someone has gotten in one Kickstarter, which before this it was 20 million. And now he's well above it, and it's still climbing. His fans must really love his work, because they are giving them all the money in the world for this, which the rewards they get is access, some sort of access to the novels that are coming out based on what tier you get, whether like, this tier is going to get you ebook, this tier is going to get you an audio book, that kind of stuff. All of that comes with the rewards plus some sort of swag. And the tiers are broken down of like, hey, $60, $250, that sort of thing. But people are obviously giving a lot more than that because he only has like.
Here's the thing. I don't think a lot of this necessarily was 100% just the cost of barrier to entry for the $1 million. I think a lot of this at this point is just people pre-ordering the books because the rewards are not only just the books themselves, but swag that comes along with the books that you probably won't be able to buy on a marketplace. You probably have to get them directly through the Kickstarter exclusively. And if you're willing enough to buy this person's book and it's called secret title, you don't even know what it is yet, and you're willing to plunker down money, there's a good chance that you'd be interested in some merch. And seeing this has like 16,000 people have backed it already. And I know what you're thinking, but 26 mil, 16,000. Hold on a minute. Yeah, no. Some people are donating. Oh, is it more than that now?
Yeah, it's at like 104,000.
Oh, it's 104,000. Okay.
So he's got a lot of people in his fan base for sure.
Yeah, like it's like he's definitely not nobody. So people do, in fact, actually read. I know, common misconception, but people do actually read. That's number one. Number two, and I think this is the funniest part of the story here, is, let's face it, folks, believe in your dreams, especially if you're qualified, because you could be the next $20 million Kickstarter. But I don't know. Kickstarter has put a bad taste in my mouth for the past like half decade. And it's not because I think Kickstarter in itself is inherently evil. It's just how many pieces of media have we seen on Kickstarter that either flash in the pan on their audience, they show up, they release, it's not good, and they just disappear. How many do we see take the money, string their viewers on for a long time, and then just disappear into the ether? How many of them just promise them for a decade plus that they're going to finally bring you that product? They show you a little bit of it, but then like you don't hear about them for 3 years. Like, I mean, how many times have we seen like, look at Star Citizen. Look at that. What was it? That Beast Fury game I covered on my old YouTube channel.
Beast Fury? I've never. That sounds like a dream.
It was a fighting game that was supposed to have Justin Wong and Maximilian Dude in it, and they talked to him. And one of the characters was going to be Max's dog.
Oh.
I don't know if you remember that, but Max's dog was supposed to be in a game as a character. And you found out that the guy who was running the project didn't want to pay people, didn't want to pay the artist, took half the money, couldn't budget things, people weren't getting paid, so then they stopped working, and then it became a whole thing of, don't worry, I'm gonna bring you guys the game, guys, and then a bunch of people wanted their money back because they realized the writing was on the wall, and then he just kind of disappeared. So that was a thing, and that was a game that had Justin Wong and Maximilian Dude's certification on it because, they were messing with it. They were like, yeah, let's do it. All right, cool, blah, 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 blah. Not saying that they robbed anybody. Once again, pay attention. They were on staff. They were asked to be like guest roles in the game. Play testers, people who did some voice work, people who got their likeness in the game. They weren't like taking the money. I just want to make sure that's clear because, people in the comments are like, oh my God, I always knew Maximilian Dude was a shiesty character. Justin Wong, he's been robbing people since Cash Detroit left the scene. Like, there are people who their brain, they don't do the thinking thing. And I would just like to cover the bases. So if anybody decides to not do the thinking thing, I have no liability on this. Anyways, pushing forward past all that, moving right along.
One thing to note that's very interesting and also brilliant strategy here is that the first two opening chapters for the first novel in the Secret Project are posted on his website under the Secret Projects like section where it's listing like the Kickstarter and his YouTube announcement of this project. And he also listed that he's going to post the opening chapters for the second book in the project soon as well. So like he's putting the chapters for these books on his website to be like, hey, this is what you're gonna get, and then they get a little taste and they're like, I need more. I gotta promote. I gotta go to the Kickstarter. I gotta give him the money because I want this, and that's probably how he got this far. And it seems like Brandon Sanderson is a good dude, and like he's not using the money for any nefarious reasons. So it's good that the person who's breaking this record is not someone who we're gonna have to like talk about in, I don't know, a couple of months and be like, yeah, that dude, he kind of ran away with the money, and now he's
Artesian builds.
He's buying BMWs and electric cars. And
wait a minute, I just realized, what if Artesian builds pulls out a Kickstarter for the buyout?
I think Kickstarter would do something about it.
I mean, you'd hope, but there's always been like that suspect gray area that Kickstarter's like, is this legal? Is it not? Might be a little bit too late, but Artesian Builds couldn't do that because they wouldn't be able to. Trust me, there's too much of an eye on them right now for them to not, like, for them to get away with anything at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were getting away with this whole tax thing for quite some time from the public eye. I
mean, yeah. Like, I don't think anyone is gonna just randomly look up any of their information for their tax stuff for their company, unless they're just like, you know what? I think I hate Noah Katz. Let me find a way to just like ruin his life. Like, no one's gonna assume that you own a company and that you haven't been paying taxes.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to admit that's a pretty bold assumption to make about anybody,
right?
Like, yeah, I know you don't pay taxes. Let's investigate. Let me check your financials. Pocket check. Like, it's an interesting way to go about it. But all in all, if you guys are into fantasy novels, I highly recommend that you go ahead and look this up and go ahead and enjoy yourself some swag and some novels.
Yeah, because you're at the best spot possible if you're a fan of Brandon Sanderson.
And this is the first time in a long time where I'm like, man, a Kickstarter that I look at and I don't just start getting pissed off. Which means if this one doesn't work, I will never, and I mean ever, give the green light to a Kickstarter ever again. Ever. This is the final chance.
It's all right, man. It's all right. Shenmue 3 hurt all of us.
Mighty Number 9 destroyed us all.
Oh, God. That was a video game.
The shadow remains cast.
Bayonetta 3 will be here at some point.
One can hope.
One can hope. We got a trailer. Let's hope.
Yeah, I mean, you got more than Prime 4 got.
Oh, God. Yeah. Prime 4. I don't think it's happening, man. I'm sorry. I'm going to need to be proven wrong.
I mean, I'm starting to feel that way every day. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for episode 66. Order 66. And we will see you guys on 67. Oh, God, we're getting close to the nice number. Oh, no. We're not going to do anything special for that, are we? That's just going to be a normal episode?
Yeah, it'll be a normal episode. There's no reason.
All right, thank God. That. Just had to test the waters. You see how I did that, Artesian Builds? You see how I tested the climate? See how I did a vibe check? Yeah. You can learn a thing or two. Anyways, we'll see you guys next week. Y'all enjoy your day, and we are out. Happy Sunday, everybody.